hilarious. Hilarious. Hilarious, hilarious. This team is so fucking funny, man. Oh my god. This was the most obvious schedule loss I've ever seen in my damn life. This team, man. This team is so hilarious. I have no words left anymore, man. I really got nothing for you. It's amazing though, right? How every single time this team plays a cup caliber team like the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, they appear to have shit stains running down their pants. Who's surprised? Certainly not me, because I've been saying it nonstop. They just aren't good enough. This is just who they are. I'm tired of shouting about it, but it's just how many times do I have to say it until the point is made across? They're just not good enough. Sorry. A serious organization would make a change after a loss like this. This team, nope, they're just going to get back on the plane, go on back to the Garden, sweep it under the rug, and get ready for St. Louis on Monday. That's what this team's going to do. But a team that actually has standards, which is what I like to call them, and that's what I at least would like this team to have. A team that would have standards would have them bag skating, would have them probably somebody loses their job after a loss like this. Probably somebody. But that's not going to happen because of the record, because of the fact that this team, I mean, you knew going into this year, when the captain of the team says, this is the last dance, you know that this is going to be a shit season. You know this is going to be a shit ride, because that's just sending the message of, we have nothing to play for anyway. This is our last year here. Who gives a fuck right now? I tweeted this, and it might be dramatic, but it's the truth. Chris Drury, by running this thing back year in and year out, has killed what I love, has killed the thing that is supposed to be my escape, your escape, everyone's escape. Outside of the fans that still are all happy-go-lucky, which good for you if you are. Good for you. I won't take it away from you. I don't know how the hell you are, but good for you. But for the fans like me, who are not in that category, Chris Drury running this back year in and year out has done nothing but drive me more insane, made me feel less passionate about the sport, make me feel less passionate about this team. But I guess that just goes along with the character this team has, right? Because that's just what they do. They just show up and just expect to win every night because they have elite goaltending. That's what they do, right? And they don't even show up on time. So you got to give me credit for at least showing up on time for the stream, by the way, tonight, because that's more than the Rangers did tonight. The Rangers don't show up on time. I'm tired of the lazy play. Tired of the efforts night in and night out. Just reaching out with your stick and stick checking the entire game is not playing defense. Leaving the point wide open to deal with shots is not playing defense. Riley Smith, by the way, sucks. I don't care that we're not 20 games in. Or that we're just under 20 games in. Sorry. I don't care. I've not seen anything but this guy turning the puck over. I would say at least 3 of the goals that happened tonight were off of Riley Smith making mistakes. The guy blows. Vinny Trocheck, I don't know what the hell is going on with this guy right now. Zero clue. The guy was he was a fan favorite last year, doing everything right. And now this guy can't even provide puck support ever, can't chip in on the back check. What the hell is going on? Mika and Kreider, status quo with them. Although Kreider, I mean, it's a step back right now because the guy's not even doing anything on the power play anymore. By the way, hilarious that they were allowing shorthanded goals. They allowed a shorthanded goal tonight. Just poetic. I thought this thing was going to rack up to a 10-0 final score by the end of it. Panarin, congrats on your stats tonight. But he also fell on his ass tonight, and that led to a goal. A rush coming the other way for a goal. It's the guys that need to show up that continue to not. And Adam Fox, I was so ready to compliment him for such a great effort at the start of the game. That sunk so quickly. Braden Schneider, I don't know what was in his head tonight. Stick checking on one of those goals when Trocheck did get back there on the back check. But for some reason, he's going for the stick check there. Which goal was that? I think that was the fifth goal, right? No, sorry. The fifth goal is when Mancini, which, by the way, Mancini, I love the potential. There are things I see for him to be a good NHLer. Now's not your time, kid. It's just not. And that fifth goal, he's just doing snow angels there. Connor McDavid got him completely fooled there. By the way, that all started with Riley Smith turning the puck over, might I add. Schneider has to leave his man. Everyone's out of position. And you know what's going to happen when Connor McDavid is left open. Sorry, that was a 6th goal, actually. I got that one wrong. But, I mean, the 5th goal, too, wasn't any better. Because Snow Angels is just not playing defense. This comments it. Pond hockey tonight. And the problem is, it's most nights that it's pond hockey. And I've been saying this every single game. I don't say it just to say it. I don't say it to just be negative or reaching for negativity. I say it because it's true. Look with your own eyes. It just only gets glorified when they lose, especially to cup caliber teams like the Oilers, and you see it on full display more. I am not seeing anything but a ginormous footstep back from where they've been. Who the hell is going to this game on Monday night with the way they've been playing lately? Who? You have to be out of your mind. This leadership group sucks. They just do. This is... I don't care anymore. This is an era of Rangers hockey. Cannot wait for it to be over. I truly cannot wait for it to be over. Because I am so tired of this leadership group, night in and night out, not giving a single fuck to fix the issues. Because the only guys that are showing the consistent efforts are the guys that are not wearing letters. They're the only ones showing up on a nightly basis. Right? Cooley? Lafreniere? Jones, even though he didn't play tonight? Hedel, even though he didn't play tonight? It's those guys. It's not Mika. It's not Kreider. Sure as hell not Trouba. It's not Trocheck. It's none of these guys. And I've just had it. I've genuinely had enough. And it's funny too, because everyone talks about how this team is a lottery team without their goaltending. And yeah, let's just sign Igor to a max extension because it's their best chance of winning. If they're that bad and we're watching a lottery team, I'd rather just commit to a rebuild that will go by quicker and watch a lottery team that sucks for a few years versus watching a goaltending tandem, I should say. Because quick, this was not on him tonight. Obviously, you don't love to look at the 6 goals against, not blaming him. But the goaltending tandem is only going to take them so far. And that's been my point, and that will continue to be my point until proven otherwise. I'd rather them just retool / rebuild than go the route of just paying Igor to slap a Band-Aid on this core here and pretend everything is fine and just delay what needs to be done. Because if we're watching a team that's a lottery team without their goaltending anyway, then what's the difference? At what point is enough enough? If this wasn't a Saturday night game, nobody would have stayed up beyond the second period to watch this crap. Not a single person. I mean, the writing was on the wall after the first period, but second period, open the floodgates. I don't know what you do at this point. I really don't. Because the record just continues to fool people. And a coaching change doesn't do anything for this team. It just doesn't. So where do you go? You could maybe fire Phil Housley. I mean, with the way this team is playing defense, I would think Phil Housley at least has warranted his job getting fired from his job. Sorry. I would think maybe that is a start, and that's somewhere that you could look at. Because where else are you going to look right now? Because they're not going to fire Laviolette, and it's pointless. A coaching change, we've already seen enough. It's not doing anything. The special teams are fine. You're not firing Pekka. Not firing Muse. Maybe Housley's the guy that you look at and maybe make a change there. It's probably not going to make much of a difference, but this team already is putting lipstick on a pig with their goaltending tandem, so why not do it further by pretending that a new coach coming in maybe is going to spark some life for them. They are in territory with the San Jose Sharks defensively. Do you know how terrible you have to be in that grouping? They play punt hockey every damn night. With this defense. Because the second line doesn't know how to play in their own end. The first line, Riley Smith is a turnover machine. And Chris Kreider just mails in efforts every night. And nobody's talking about it because of the fact that everybody else has been shit around him. And then you get to the third line, which they're the only ones showing up on a nightly basis. So just a joke of a group here. It truly is. It's amazing how far we've come. It really just is insane because after that 2022 season, if you told me I was going to be sitting here in 2024 talking about how they've done nothing but take a step backwards from that conference finals run, I would have said, what the hell happened? I would have had so many questions. Granted, again, I always say it that 2022 run, they probably shouldn't have beat Pittsburgh in that first round, but they did. And I thought, okay, it's your first year out of the rebuild. You get experience, so what with it? But the act is old. We saw this in 2022 and 23, dude. Stop saying it's just November. Stop. Just shut up. This is the same crap that happened in 22-23, where they thought they'd flip a switch late in the season. And sure, they got a couple of wins. They strung a good amount of wins at the end of the season. But what happened when they faced New Jersey in round one? Remind me what happened. And remind me what happened when they went up 2-0 in that series and the Tampa series. Complacency, which tells the story of this core. That's all it is. They are complacent with their money. They know that when Chris Drury's not moving the captain, because even though he had teams that he could have traded him to, still didn't do it and got pushed over by Trouba. These guys know. What do we have to care? We're getting our paychecks. We're not going anywhere. What do we have to care? That's what it is. Complacency, entitlement, arrogance. And it stems from Jacob Trouba being the leader. It's not a coincidence when guys like Trouba and even Blake Wheeler, who they had last year, not a coincidence when those guys leave Winnipeg. Winnipeg all of a sudden becomes a better team, right? That's not a coincidence to me. But, you know, Chris Drury, he got a shit contract and he was named the captain a long time ago. He probably just felt the same way about Trouba. You're on a bad contract. You know what? We'll slap the C on you because I feel bad because I was in your position at one point. That's probably what it is, right? But hey, it's fine. It's November and look at the record. It's okay. As this team cries in one cup in the past 80 years. As this team has to celebrate conference finals appearances year in and year out because that's where the bar is right now. And truthfully, right now, with this team, if they're going to play this way going into the deadline, there is not a chicken shit's chance I'm trading my first round picks, not trading Brennan Hoffman, not trading Brett Berard, not trading any prospects for this shit. Because if they don't give a fuck, why should you give a fuck about going all in for them? What's the incentive? Because all they're showing right now is that they're just here to collect their paychecks. If they win, great. If they lose, oh well. That's where it feels like they are. And when you have a group that's like that, then you shouldn't be buying for them. And truthfully, this team right now, who would they play in round one? Let's see. Who would they play? They'd play Toronto. Do we truthfully think they're beating the Toronto Maple Leafs? And could you imagine, by the way, could you imagine they play the Leafs in round one, who are a laughing stock come the playoffs? Could you imagine they lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams in round one of the playoffs? How embarrassing that would look for you. But the players tell us after every single elimination, oh, that one really hurt us with Tampa Bay. Yeah, we learned our lesson. We'll be back. You could sell me that when it's your first year back in the playoffs. New Jersey, shit running down your pants after going up 2-0. Well, it's the coach. And you know what? Gerard Gallant was a dope in his own right, but he was right about a couple of things. Because he hinted he was the only one with any sort of balls to go up to the podium and talk about how this team doesn't have it. Because in the exit interview, he was suggesting he basically said something along the lines of, you can have all the talent in the world, doesn't matter if you don't play the right way. And that caused this locker room to cry and go fragile, and they bitched and moaned the Chris Drury. They fired him, and then now with Laviolette, they get off to the great start last year, and it looked like things actually were different and that they were actually bought into Laviolette. And then come December, come January, shit hit the fan. Trouba goes on, not on IR, sorry, he just was scratched, because why would he take one for the team and go on LTIR, right? Either way, is out for a couple games. Team looks better than they have defensively over the past couple weeks. Gets back in the lineup for that Coyotes game. Shit hits the fan again. Playoffs come around. Sweep a Washington team you should. Almost got reverse swept by Carolina, by the way. If Chris Kreider doesn't have a historic moment, you probably do. Because if that went back to the Garden for Game 7, you're not winning that series. And then Florida, Igor stole you a couple games, but outside of that, they mopped you. Oh, well, we learned, and that one really hurt us. We're embarrassed of that. Are you? Did you learn? Because I don't see any ounce of learning. The only reason this team looks slightly better offensively this year versus last year is you're getting production from the third line on top of the second line. Because last year was just the second line. This year, at least you're getting more production from the third line. And it's masking some of the big issues with this team. 3 of their wins are against the sorry-ass Detroit Red Wings, who are on the verge of firing their head coach. This team beats lottery teams. That's who they beat. Congrats on beating the Ducks. Congrats on beating the Habs. Congrats on beating the Detroit Red Wings. Congrats on beating the Pittsburgh Penguins. Congrats on beating the San Jose Sharks. Congrats on beating a depleted Islanders and a depleted Canucks team. Congrats on all of that. But where is the compete level against the teams that I need to see the compete level against? Against the Edmontons. Against the Winnipegs. I mean, they couldn't even compete with Buffalo. Where's the compete level? If these losses truly hurt you as much as you claim, where is it? Because I don't see any of it. And this is it. Record-wise, they're overachieving. They 100% are. Because you could look at a lot of those wins, Tim, and point to Jonathan Quick or Igor Shesterkin. Because even against that depleted Islanders team, they were getting outchanced heavily in that game. Chris Drury, if shit continues to trend this direction and they truly do lose in the first round, then there's no way in hell Chris Drury could stick around any longer. And he should have been gone a long time ago at this rate, but the fact that he continued to commit to this core when fans could see, every single fan in this chat, 90% at least, because I'm sure there's some positives that are telling me to shut up right now. 90% of the fan base, though, in this chat, myself, could have told Chris Drury, this core doesn't have it. Make a significant shakeup. And instead, continues to run it back. That's all he does. Run it back. Last year, they were the top team in the NHL, and he didn't want to go all in. So that's conflicting messages by the GM, because the GM didn't want to go all in last year when the team had the best record in hockey, but continues to believe in these guys? Or, sorry, I should say maybe doesn't believe in these guys to go all in enough. Conflicting messages, if you ask me. But no, instead, run it back, run it back, run it back. Instead of looking at teams that have done it over the past few years, who get aggressive. Remember how much everyone was laughing at the Tampa Bay Lightning for trading their first round picks for Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow, ironically. But especially Blake Coleman. Remember everyone laughing at that? But your best two examples, Matthew Tkachuk and the Jack Eichel trade. This team has needed, and it's long overdue, has needed a shakeup to that degree, where you move on from a core guy that might hurt feelings and you go and get a legitimate star. Whether you overpay to get Brady Tkachuk, whether you find a superstar that is available, I do not care. You try something different. Because this shit is not working. And you didn't want to go in last year when a prime elite goal-scoring winger was available. And you let him go to a division rival. Which, yes, you beat the team that he went to. But if you had him, who knows what happens last year, but you didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do that. You didn't want to go in for Matthew Tkachuk when he was available. You didn't want to go in for Eichel when he was available. So who is the guy? Who is it? Or, is Drury that in love with these guys? If that's the case, he needs to be fired yesterday. Because you need a guy who has no attachment to these players. When it doesn't surprise me that he does, because I mean, he was here for the Gorton Davidson days. He had a say in those meeting rooms about some of these guys. In hindsight, it would have been best case scenario to let the guy go to Pittsburgh and fuck things up there, and then hiring someone from the outside. And this is another point. The guys who leave thrive elsewhere. It's not a coincidence that Roslovic and Wenberg are performing well all of a sudden. Nico Mikkola wins a Stanley Cup when he leaves, and was a cornerstone for them on the blue line, might I add. It's not a coincidence. So, again, there's something wrong here. And it's clear as day to me what the issue is. I know fans want Laviolette fired, and I know fans want me to be pissed at Laviolette. And again, I want to make it clear, Laviolette doesn't get off the hook entirely for this. He doesn't. But the players get the biggest ounce of blame. And Chris Drury. To me, there are tiers to this. You go, I don't know who you put ahead between Drury actually and the players. I mean, they are pretty much neck and neck there. But then you have Laviolette in that tier below. Because to me, this falls way more on the players and it falls way more on management than anything else or anyone else. I didn't even get to the chat at all. We're 30 minutes in. And I could keep going on 1,000 all freaking night. I'm borderline. I am honestly shaking right now from the amount of blood I have boiling about this team. Because I'll admit, I've admitted it before and I'll admit it again, there are times that I hold myself back from saying certain things because of the fact that I don't want to just be the mayor of bad news. And I know that people will say that I like to be negative, this and that. I don't want to be all of that entirely on this channel at the very least. I mean, personal life wise, I mean, that's a different story. But on this channel at the very least, I try to hold myself back a bit. But right now, I mean, this is just one of those nights the cat's out of the bag. Because I can't take it anymore. Call it over dramatic, call it overreactionary. I don't care. Throw whatever insult in the book you want at me. Don't give a flying fuck right now. I've been on the internet long enough to where I don't give a shit. And if I'm a terrible person for caring about my team, then hey, I'm happy to be that way. Thank you for the $5 fortune cookie. I appreciate that. Use this to buy some booze. You need it. I was tempted to tonight. I could tell you that. I was very tempted to, but I would have slept up and said worse things that I am saying right now. I could tell you that. We might be going all night at this rate. I still feel like I have 30 minutes to an hour left in me. Don't care. Don't care. I'll go all night. I'm livid. Thank you for the $5, Chris. I appreciate that. For telling it like it is. Backskate, you pylons. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you like me giving the honesty. Really do appreciate that. And I appreciate your support, Chris. Really do. Yeah, we need the John Tortorella post game tonight. Please go all night. This is my therapy. I'm glad I could provide therapy for some in this form. Although I don't know what's very therapeutic about listening to me getting pissed off. But if it's therapeutic to you guys, hey, then I'll keep doing it gladly. Speaking of therapy, let's see if there's any post-game quotes to laugh at, because all it does at this point for me, these post-game interviews, quotes, whatever, all they do is make me hysterically laugh at this point, because it's the same bullshit every single night and nothing's different. Let's see. What do we got? Before I get to that, actually, let me read this. $5. Thank you again. I appreciate that. Take a shot of whiskey or Zibanejad signs. 7-year extension. Sadly, he's already on that extension. I'm not. Maybe I will. I don't know. Or I'll let you know if maybe we'll get there tonight at some point. I don't know. If I go late, I go late. But let's see. Head coach Peter Laviolette. We knew the Oilers were a good team on the rush. We talked about it. We talked about trying to stay above them and get above them, and sometimes put ourselves in bad position. Sometimes we lost foot races. Sometimes we turned the puck over. Sometimes we fell down the offensive zone, lost an edge, and the rush comes back at you quickly. This is why I can't get entirely mad at Peter Laviolette. He's seeing what we're seeing. He's telling the players what we're saying. But no matter what, it does not matter. Because they cannot handle any sort of accountability, this group. Charmin soft. That just continues to tell you all you need to know. And sometimes, this is a trend, my friend. Sometimes is underselling what this is. Vinny Trocheck on the power play. The first couple of power plays, we had chances, quick chances, and good looks. But we were one and done. We have to be better on the retrievals for sure. And our entries, we need to be a lot better. Our breakouts, we're not getting in clean. We've got to solve that. We hear this shit every night. It's the same shit I say every single night when I'm constantly talking about how I'm on loop with saying the same shit of the zone entries, of the one and done offense, of the terrible breakouts. It's the same shit. It's what lost you the series against Florida. Nothing has changed, asshole. Just shut up. Holy crap. Adam Fox, on the Rangers needing to work on sustaining more zone time. I mean, even when you do, you don't do anything with it, but sure. Definitely, I mean, seems like we kind of found a little bit more in the past two games, giving up 20-something shots, getting 5. It's just indicative of a couple things. We're on our heels a little bit and one and done in the offensive zone and not making them defend. Just creating my Twitter profile pic at this point. But we know. You say it every night. We watch it every night. We say this every night. And there's no change. Holy crap. Just word salads. Nothing burgers / word salads. Even when you do get offensive zone time, like I said, though, you don't do anything with it. So is that really going to change anything? Outside of make it that you have to do less breakouts? And the zone entries, I mean, we've been screaming, every fan's been screaming for weeks that you guys just force the home run passes, but what the fuck do we know? We're just idiotic fans. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate that. And I don't know. And yeah, it's hilarious because Trocheck's been the source of the problem with most of those things, and he's saying that. They're going to get killed in the playoffs if they get there at this rate. And this is it. You play like this, you're not making the playoffs. The Islanders will get healthy. And I'm sure they'll want to make the playoffs. Tampa Bay is always there. Boston made a coaching change. I don't know if that's going to do enough for them, but they're on a 2-game win streak since, so maybe. Not too long until you're going to be wild card 2. At this rate. oh yeah, we didn't play well. We didn't play our best tonight. I got to be, better at art because that's all I'm good at, and I fucked my team over. They're playing worse than it at this point. They're playing worse than where they are. They are playing like they should be hanging out in the standings with the Blue Jackets and Flyers right now. They should easily be at whatever. This stage, just sell, redo what we did in 2017. That's what I've been saying. It's never going to happen, but that's what I've been saying. Because this core is not it. And Matt and I, in particular, the entire offseason screamed for this team to enter a retool. And we both got so much shit for it. But now look. Now, look where we are. How the mighty have fallen. We're doomed for rebuild, but I fear because of Dolan. That's the problem, though. The problem with rebuilding, that's why I said retool. The problem with rebuilding is Dolan's impatient ass is not going to go through a rebuild. He couldn't even survive 3 to 4 years of this team rebuilding. Not a world he will survive a rebuild that is not expedited. Because this team, man, them getting fortunate with the second overall pick, the first overall pick, and then Panarin wanting to be here, man, that just put them into a mindset of, let's just accelerate this thing. And this is true. Terrible cycling team. It's what we said all offseason. The Pittsburgh Penguins did not want this guy. And you said, second round pick after his worst season of his career since he was maybe a teenager. No, yeah, I know they're in a wild card spot, but they're playing worse than that, is what I'm saying. Thank you for the $5. I think if you had told the Rangers fans in 1994 that there'd be another 30 plus year drought, yeah. Well, here we are. Here we are again. And this is the point that I'm making. The sustained zone time is just 2 minutes of hot potato. And they just rip pucks from the point into the opponent's skates. Same song and dance. This is why I had low energy going into the season. This is why you had low energy going into the season. This is why Matt had low energy going into the season. This is why most of the fan base did. Yes, if you haven't, leave a like. Leave a like. Chug this beard shot on another if we get to 50 likes. All right, do it if you want Christopher to do all that. But I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the super chats going on right now. I feel bad that I didn't even get to the chat and see what everyone's saying right now. I really do apologize if everyone's if anyone typed anything towards the top. Yeah, I'm too far into this to go to the top. Gotta be up in 6 hours. Yeesh. 5 more. They locked into the easiest rebuild and found a way to squander it. Typical Rags ragging because they can't get out of their own way. The sooner more fans realize it, the better. The problem is they never will, and the problem is that fans are still going to pay because of how corporate that fucking building is, and fans will go either way instead of boycotting this. But there's no way any hardcore fan should be going to MSG anytime soon. I've attended 1 game this season, and regretfully, and I can tell you right now, I have no intentions to go back to the building anytime soon. Unless I'm going for a Knicks game, which even then, they're pissing me off too. So, I don't know. There's really no winning. Maybe the next time I'm in a building for a sporting event is Citi Field again, which... I thought the Eagles were dysfunctional. What the hell happened here? I have no clue. Zero clue. I've been asking this question for a while now. Got no clue. I mean, if you're going to go to a game, go to a road game at this point. Unless that's near you, which I think you said that you live down there. But if anyone's going to a game, the only reason to go to a game at this point is a road game because there's no reason to spend money on MSG. At least get a trip out of visiting a new city. The only reason to go to MSG is to dap up Clyde. It's the truth. It's really the truth at this point. I'm praying to the sports gods to just let me have this one moment of Juan Soto signing with the Mets so I could be there. Going electric, going insane. I don't ask. Actually, that's a lie. I do ask for many favors from the sports gods, but I'm just asking for this one. Just asking for one favor. Just give me Juan Soto on the Mets. So I could just be fat and happy for once with sports. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for Sunday Night Football. Dear Chris Collinsworth. Oh, my God, I have to spend my night listening to Chris Collinsworth. Forgot they got the Sunday night gig versus the Rams. I've never been down this bad for pitchers and catchers. Never been this bad, down bad for it. This team has me missing watching Paul Blackburn go out there throwing the baseball. That's how bad it is. And I tweeted that I would rather go back in time to watch Tyler Batchelor pitch than watch this team right now. Who am I trading for? Nobody. Not trading for anybody right now. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate that. 50 likes. Get chugging. He doesn't have to do it. I give him a pass if he doesn't want to. But I appreciate the $2. This team is threatening a lot of things. Nick jokingly said to me, said in the group chat that I'm in with him, he jokingly said earlier that this team's going to make him mess up his digital footprint. Would gladly watch Walker Lockett right now. You know what I'm going to do after this stream probably? I'm probably going to, after I just look and stare at the ceiling for a couple hours and continue to piss myself off about this team. I'm going to throw on some Mets highlights from this postseason run. That's what I'm going to have to do. Wilmer Font highlights, yeah. Thank you for the $2. I know you meant him. I'm giving him a pass, though, if he didn't want to, if he doesn't want to. Why the Mets? Because they are the only team right now that and I cannot believe I'm saying this from where I was a year ago today. They are the only team right now that puts a damn smile on my face. When Mark Vientos had that 2-home run game in Philadelphia, I jumped off the sofa like I haven't in a very long time. Or I guess the Pete Alonso home run before that and the Lindor walk-off against Atlanta. But either way, that team has actually gave me something to be happy about recently. Believe it or not. This team, fuck no. The Knicks, I thought did. Not lately. And the Eagles are a walking dumpster fire that also is, their record's also masking the amount of shit stains that they have. I might just have to follow your footsteps and do this tonight. I'd rather watch him roam the outfield. Daniel Samora and Thomas Apaki highlights. Oh, why do I support the Mets? Sorry. I'm sorry for getting it twisted there. But why the Mets? I just went to a lot of Met games growing up, and it just happened. I mean, there's really no story outside of that. Went to Met games, became a Met fan. What about the Eagles at 22? Broke my heart when they lost the Super Bowl. Broke my heart. Because that is the epitome of my sports fandom outside of the Super Bowl that they have, which, again, I will continue to say this too. The worst part about that also is, like, I don't care about football as much as I do the other. Out of the 4 major sports, I care about football the least. I truly care about football the least. So I got a championship, but from the team that I care about the least. And then that 22 team, man, I thought they were going to do it, though. When they destroyed the 49ers, even though they didn't have a quarterback for most of that game, when they destroyed them, I thought, and when they had that lead, when they had the lead going into the half, we know the way that went. The epitome of my sports fandom. We're on to the part of the night where we're naming random Dark Age Mets. I'll never forgive Troy for this. They had me down bad for that, though. I will gladly watch Deaza's 5 career Met highlights, if it's even that, over anything. See, this question's not fair because like I said, I care more about the Rangers, to where Chris Drury I hate more. As much as Nick pisses me off. But I remember Jonathan Neese, Nora Aoki, Gavin Cicchini, Ty Kelly, Jacob Rame, AJ Ramos, Travis Tyrone. Real ones remember Josh Smoker trotting out of the bullpen. Sirianni Gallant. Shit versus poop. Cannot believe this is where we are right now. Thank you, Leo. I appreciate that. Yeah, unfortunately, I remember that. I sadly do. Do I ever wonder if Dolan is tying Drury's hands about making big moves, like how he wouldn't trade the first rounder last year? I have no clue. It wouldn't surprise me because that guy needs to put his hands on everything, whether it's legal or not. He has to put his hands on everything, and unfortunately, these teams. So it could be. Could be the truth, but either way, Drury hasn't done a good enough job. Even if his hands are being tied a bit. Who's the fourth poor bastard we're hiring to throw under the bus in 2027? Yeah, that's actually a good question. Yeah, bring back on. What was one of your concerns about the season was a team regressed the year after winning the President's Trophy? I'm not sure what you're asking there. If like I thought they would just regress after winning the President's Trophy. I mean, last year I thought they overachieved, and I thought they got where they did because of the fact that the East was completely dog shit outside of the Florida Panthers. Because if any other team, if Toronto or Boston came out of the East there, Tampa, that was the last team. If any of those teams came out of the East in terms of getting to the conference finals, the Rangers probably end up in the finals. Whether they win or not, I don't know. But they probably do last year because the East was completely dog shit, to be honest with you, outside of Florida. Bring in Bruce Boudreaux. That's not a bad shout for who could be the new scapegoat. And yeah, I brought that up earlier. And he was the only one that had the balls to say it. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with winning the President's Trophy last year. I was one of the people, too, that was so against the narrative of people saying the President's Trophy curse, because I just think that's a load of bullshit. I just think the reason people think the President's Trophy is cursed is because most teams that win the President's Trophy just coast into the playoffs, like the Rangers did last year, instead of actually dialing it up a notch, and that's just what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with them winning it, but they were obviously going to regress from winning the President's Trophy to some degree, but this is wolf shit beyond that. That is a true point, though. Every time this team wins the President's Trophy, they regress the next season, miss the playoffs, second round exit, first round exit. That's a fair point. And it is trending in that direction. Yeah, that also. I wish that I could be that way. I really wish that I didn't have to be hands tied committed to this. I'm jealous. Really am. But you guys help at least with getting through this shit. Yep. Yeah. Almost lost to Louis Domingue also, by the way. Almost lost to Father Finn in 2022. Yeah. How could you rebuild if Zibanejad's still here for 5 years? Well, if you go in the direction of a rebuild, Zibanejad's not going to want to be here. If you tell Zibanejad you're rebuilding, we don't have you in our plans anymore, he will waive. 10 years, we'll look back and realize this is all 8's fault. He fucked us over so many times on the fact that they validate him with a C represents a laughing stock. Funny that you mentioned that, because in my head, at least, I want to start making a Google Doc of this. I want to start writing up a retrospect of this being a failed era for Rangers hockey. So then in a few years down the line, I could make a video about the failed era of this core. I should start writing about that because I had a couple of ideas in my head. That's really what changed the tide more, the Trouba hit. Because Crosby was not the same after that. He was clearly not. I mean, obviously he had a concussion, but... Here you bring up Rempe. At this point, I'd rather watch him throw himself into the glass than anything else right now. So... The cost of Chris Drury. No, that's a 30 for 30 I'm watching. I gotta make a collaborative Google document for that too if I do it, and get like you and Matt involved in that, and Nick and just everyone else in our group chat. I should do that. But I definitely want to make a retrospect when this era is all said and done. Why am I an Eagles fan? Jets and Giants are terrible, and the Eagles are the next closest team to where I'm from. That's why. It makes no sense. It really doesn't make any sense. All these guys get the axe as quick as they did. Although Chris Drury deserves... Chris Drury deserves... I won't say it. I won't say it. I won't say it. I won't. Friendships Over Championship, the Drury era documentary. That's actually not a bad title for that. I actually like that. Mentally check down the score. I don't celebrate when we score. If I'm a horrible fan, so be it. I guess caring and having standards is a bad thing. That's where I am. I just analyze. I just kind of feel... I'm at a point where I feel obligated and it feels like a chore with this shit. But like I said, at least you guys in the chat make this bearable. But all right, I think that I'm finally gonna wrap this up here. I don't want to go too long because I know people probably want to get sleep, and on top of that, I don't know if I have much. I mean, that's a lie. I do have a lot left to say, but I don't think I'm gonna. I don't have the energy to spew it all out tonight. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another stream since nothing's going on until the Eagles play at night tomorrow. But I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you to everyone that sent a super chat. Shout out to the members of the channel. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.